Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 57 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts, Turtle, Mike, and me, Sean. Thank you for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Pretty well. How about you guys?
I'm doing pretty good as well. Sean, how are you doing?
Yeah, I've been, hanging in there. Doing all right. I worked a 12-hour day yesterday. I'm really happy to just be sitting and chilling. But earlier in my work day, I had to give a full hour-long presentation where I talked almost the entire time. So here I am. Here I am doing a recording where I, the host, have to talk almost the entire time. So
just what you
it's
want.
all right. My just stretching the vocal cords.
Drink some water. Stay relaxed.
Got lots of water. What about you guys? What else is new?
Not too much here. Just a lot of work. Softball season's starting to pick up, but otherwise it's been pretty chill for me.
I, on the other hand, recently went to a concert.
Oh?
Yes.
A concert, you say? Which concert was that?
Yeah, sure.
I am excited to announce I saw Judas Priest for the second time. My life has been changed yet again. For the hardcore listeners who have followed me on my YouTube channel, which has paused, again, I apologize. I just don't have time. 3 years ago on the YouTube channel, I had mentioned in one of my episodes, I don't remember what we were playing at the time, but I saw Judas Priest, and it was a wonderful experience. And lo and behold, 3 years later, they returned to the same venue with the same opening act. So I said, I have to go again. So the same crew who went with me 3 years ago, we all went again. And it was a wonderful time. Rob Halford is now, I think, 72, and he's absolutely amazing. The band was great. The opening act was Sabaton. They were also very fun. Great stuff. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
What's the best song?
Ooh, best song. Judas Priest is touring for their new album, which came out earlier this year. Invincible Shield, a very, very, very good album. So Priest fans, if you haven't picked it up for some reason or were unaware for some reason, go get it. It's very good. I think my favorite song on that album, I don't know. It's hard to pick. One of my favorites, at least. They opened the show with Panic Attack, which is the opening track for the new album. Great choice. Perfect way to open a show. I knew they were going to do it, and they did. But one of my other favorite songs on there was Crown of Horns, which they played live, and I was very excited to hear that. It's kind of a almost ballady type song, but I just really like that song. It's got a nice little vibe to it. Fun little track, I think. And they played that, so I was excited for that. And then they played Invincible Shield. And most of everything else that they played were older songs. I was kind of shocked it has as many older tracks we got from like the earlier albums. Victim of Changes, I think they played just about every time, but it's a great track. Saints in Hell from like the third or fourth album, I was shocked they played that. I didn't know what to expect. But I didn't expect that song. So they played Saints in Hell for any old school fans. But yeah, I mean, it was a great show. But if I had to pick a favorite off the new one, would be Crown of Horns, and they played it live. So I was happy to hear that.
That's some good stuff.
Sounds like a great time.
Indeed it was. So Priest fans, check them out. If they're coming in your area, it's totally worth it. They sound incredible. Rob is a beast. Go see him. Go buy Invincible Shield. It's really good.
All right, well, a ringing endorsement from Turtle. We're going to start here. We're going to talk about episodes 5 and 6 of Solo Leveling. Episode 5, A Pretty Good Deal.
Before we get too far into the breakdown, Turtle, I know a couple episodes ago you were saying you didn't recognize the Jinwoo voice actor. It's actually Alex Lee, who voices Thorfinn from Vinland Saga and Zenitsu from Demon Slayer.
Oh, okay. So he's been around. I just didn't recognize him. But again, yeah, shout out to Alex Lee. Holy cow. I think in these group of episodes, which we'll get there, he really starts to come through as a voice actor and be like, wow, this guy's really putting his heart and soul into this character.
It's also easy to forget that he does Zenitsu because he was barely in the last season of Demon Slayer.
Zenitsu's also probably the worst character in Demon Slayer, but we're not here to talk about Demon Slayer or debate that. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Okay, so our episode starts with a nurse saying, "You saw the hottie, yeah?" And then another nurse asks, "Do you mean the E rank?" "I sure did." We're immediately treated to a shirtless, not nurse, but sweaty Jinwoo doing push-ups. The nurses gush over him some more in their locker room. One of the nurses is in disbelief at how he could have put on that much muscle just by working out for a few days. She walks into the room and sees him sweaty and shirtless. She blushes and then ogles him. She says he's being discharged today and then asks for his number. He thinks it's so she can send him more test results. So he says, "That's not a problem," and gets her number. Cue the opening.
The nurses are thirsting big time over Jinwoo. And I love how oblivious Jinwoo is to the nurse asking for his number. He's like, oh, must be for more test results. Not thinking like, oh, they think I'm a hottie now because I've been working out and like I'm super freaking buff all of a sudden.
Yeah, that really made me laugh. Oh, more test results. No, dude. No. She's looking for you, not test results. Come on, man. Writing's on the wall.
What's the difference? The Virgin E rank versus the Chad Second Awakening. Post opening, we're shown the news, but it's not the Gate report like last time. It's an interview with Yunho Beck. He runs the White Tiger Guild. He's one of 7 S rank hunters in the entire country. She asks him what a hunter's life is like. He says that training is what takes up most of his time. He was a firefighter before this, so he was used to it.
Sabat is back, baby! I was a little shocked that there are only 7 S-class hunters in the country. But in a way, it also makes sense. It's like, you can't have everyone be S-class rank, and being that it's the top of the top hunter, like, it's gonna be rare for S rank hunters to be a thing. But it's like, 7 just feels light.
I have a question about that actually. I'm glad you brought that up. So this is it's safe to assume this is probably Korea where this takes place, right? Maybe because it's a Korean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's based on Korean
they
like
never
comedy.
explicitly say, but
Yeah. So there's only 7 in the country, but I think about countries like, so this is a worldwide thing, right? Like the gates are worldwide. Am I correct?
yeah, I
As
thought
far as I
so.
know, yes.
Yeah. So I think about like a country like China or India that has an extremely high population. Would they just have an insane number of S class people?
I almost wonder if it's like a percentage based of the population,
That could be. That's a good thought.
but it's also one of those things. It's like, okay, well, if more people are born every day than die, then what? It's like,
Yeah,
well,
I guess.
you're capped at 10 S ranks, so we're at 10, and all 10 S ranks are now 80. So sorry, you have absolute shit ass hunters for the next 20 years.
I don't know.
That would suck.
I'm not like a huge stats guy, but I do like seeing the numbers sometimes. And I would love if they did a little bit of a better breakdown of like how many S rank hunters in the country, the world, what country has the most, which country has the least, things like that. I would love to see stuff like that. They're probably not going to give it to us.
Yeah, they haven't really gone into like how many hunters or guilds or anything that there are, just that they dropped that there's 7 S class hunters in this country. So yeah, I mean I would also assume this is based in Korea, being that it was written in Korea. But yeah, I mean we don't really get any kind of details on that. So who knows?
It could also be a fictional country that doesn't exist in our
True.
modern world.
Very true.
On that note, we're reviewing the news from Gina's viewpoint. She turns off the TV when she realizes that she's late to school. She sees Jinwoo and lets him know that there's some leftovers for him. She sees him in the hallway and asks him if he's been working out. She also says he looks taller and that it's cool that guys in their 20s can also grow. Junwoo makes sure she leaves with an umbrella and he's left alone.
I love how Gina's like, oh, he must have had his second growth spurt. It's like, I wish I knew this second growth spurt thing. I would have loved to have a second growth spurt.
I myself am on the taller side. Kind of wish I wasn't so tall.
I'm curious about how he got taller, though. I didn't realize that was part of the stat boosts. If he
Yeah.
keeps leveling up, is he going to keep getting even taller?
I was gonna say it's like that point was like weird. It's like okay, like I totally get getting stronger and everything, but it's like getting stronger doesn't mean you get taller out of the blue.
Yeah, this is like the shift. We had the old Jinwoo, and this is the new Jinwoo.
I'm saying he's like level 18, right?
His
And
new leg
so,
added a couple inches.
Yeah.
yeah, one of his legs is just way taller than the other one now.
Just
He has
one.
to he has to walk around with like a 6-inch platform shoe to even out his height.
But he's currently level 18. I'm like, dang, if he reaches level 99, is he just going to be like 8 feet tall or something? Pretty wild. Speaking of level 18, the next section is where he checks his stats. He checks his daily goal first. He only has running left to do for the day. In his stats, 48 strength, 27 in every other stat, with 12 available ability points to assign. His job still says none, but his equipped title is Wolf Assassin. He's currently level 18. He decides to split it up. 2 points to strength, 8 into agility, because he said, well, the strength's no good if I can't hit anything, so I should probably put points into agility. And then 2 into perception, because it came in handy earlier. He gets a phone call. It's his landlord. Everyone loves Mr. Landlord. He's still waiting on this month's payment, but he's willing to wait a month. What?
I was like, wait a second, huh? When this phone call happened, I'm like, Jinwoo and Gina must have the nicest landlord ever in allowing the rent to be pushed back if need be.
Yeah.
I've never heard of landlord like, oh yeah, we could just push it back a month. It's like maybe a couple days, maybe, but like a whole month, like what?
Yeah. I've never met a landlord who has been that nice. So that is the nicest landlord ever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the landlord seemed on pretty good terms with him, so maybe, yeah, maybe he's like a family friend. I'm spending way too much brain power on rationalizing why your landlord isn't like knocking on your door. Give me the rent.
I mean, I guess, well, he's a hunter. There's only so many hunters. He's an E rank hunter, so he's not really good or really strong. His mom's in the hospital, so his sister's going to school. So I guess this landlord has a heart. He's like, if you need some help, I'm willing to cut you a break here and there.
Yeah, see, if he knows about their mom, he might be sympathetic. Yeah, good
Right.
point. But Jewin thinks about how getting rent money now should be a breeze. He thinks about how getting too much publicity, though, could cause him some trouble. So he's going to masquerade as a true E rank. He opens an app that lets hunters choose gates and picks one to go to for work. I do want to say this app is really cool and actually unbelievably realistic for like a workplace thing, right? Like if it makes sense that this would be an app and you could just have like party fill up. Very video game-esque actually. Like when you go to join a party sometimes, like a looking for group type of thing. But I really liked it. Anyway, he picks one to go to for work. When he gets there, he's greeted by Wang Dong-soo and 5 other hunters. The other hunters have names, I think. I just don't care what they are. They're just not important. Honestly, in this show, you could pretty much assign like 4 characters names. And like if their name's not Jinwoo, they don't even really need a name. Based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Jinwoo is informed that he's here for the head count mostly. And one of the guys calls out Jinwoo's title of weakest hunter of all mankind. What a jerk. They want him to sign a contract spelling out his payment before going in. Jinwoo does some analysis, and there are 4 C ranks and 2 D ranks in the group. After he verbally accepts the contract, Jinwoo's informed that he'll be carrying their bags for the journey. He's surprised when he finds out that a healer's not present for the mission. Wang Dong-suk gives a reasonable explanation that independent parties have a hard time getting healers to come on missions. I thought that was going to be when Jinwoo was going to call Juhee, and we were going to get like an arc about her trying to overcome her PTSD. But that's not what we got. We got an 8th member of the expedition named Jinho Yu. He's a 21-year-old D-rank hunter who has an unbelievable weapon and set of armor. Jinwoo asked if he was a trust fund baby, and I thought that had to be it. He claims he can keep Jinwoo safe since it's his first C-rank gate.
Alright, 1. Odds that the dude that called out Jinwoo for being the weakest hunter dies.
Dude definitely gave off like the aura of a character who gets absolutely wrecked in a dungeon.
Yep. It's like, oh, this dude has death flag written all over him. I was definitely digging the look of the armor on Jinho. And I love how Jinwoo was wondering if he's a trust fund baby. Because my mind went to, oh, this dude's definitely a Nepo baby. Like, I'm like, oh, his dad's probably some like big hunter. And it's like, here, son, you can have all this gear, even though you're D rank. And you probably shouldn't be doing these high questing dungeons. I'm an A rank hunter, so I'm going to give you all this extra stuff.
It's very flashy. Hopefully it helps him out.
We're gonna find out. Jinho explains the construction site belongs to a guy who embezzled a bunch of money and fled the country. Not sure that's really relevant to the plot.
No.
Like, I don't know why we got this story about like the construction site. It didn't mean anything. Like, you could have just left it a blank construction site. Like, oh yeah, we just shut down construction site because the gate popped up.
Right.
like, why am I getting this like story about the guy who is this gonna come back around? I doubt it. I don't know.
They had to pad a couple extra minutes.
Yeah, I guess so. Jinho also shouts out how this gate seems huge compared to most that he's seen. We're told that the size of the gate doesn't necessarily correlate to the power of it. The Hunter Association designates the ranking based on the size of magic and not the size of the gate. Time to go into the gate.
It's not the size of the gate that matters, it's the motion.
That's right. Size does not matter on gates.
Yeah, as we keep telling ourselves here at the Anime Banter podcast. On gates.
On gates. Jinho is totally becoming the surrogate for the viewer, isn't he? Like, because Jinwoo was explaining so much on like the gates and everything, it's like, oh, we are just using him as a surrogate for us, it felt like. Also, fun fact, Jinho is voiced by Justin Briner, who also voices Midoriya in My Hero Academia.
Yay! I love Justin Briner.
The party goes into a dark dungeon. They light up a small amount of it with a magical spell. We're given lore about glowstones that often light up a dungeon, and we find out that that's all that they do. That's all the glowstones do. They light up a dungeon. They start going over the other stones like Essence Stone, Mana Stone, Glowstone, and Jinho's like, "Whoa, that's so many to keep track of." And I'm like, "It's 3 stones." It's I don't know.
3 is such a hard number to count to.
Yeah, so much to keep track of. Not really. And honestly, you should probably know all this stuff before you go into like a gate. They should really prepare these hunters better.
Yeah, it sounds like he didn't do his homework.
Well, he doesn't need to do homework. He has the best armor and weapon that money can buy.
I don't need to know anything about a dungeon. My dad's rich.
They get to a place where there are split paths, like many split paths. Jinwoo uses that high perception to find out that these are insect monsters, and they're coming from above. We get to see some fun party dynamics. Their tank is able to taunt the enemies into attacking him. They have an archer and a mage, and the mage does a countdown, and the rest of the parties clear the area for him to pretty much drop a bomb. It was actually like impressive chemistry. They did a really good job of convincing me that this party has worked together for a long time and knows each other's nuances. So I actually really like this scene. We see Jinho take out one, and we also see Jinwoo subtly kick one of the bugs in half while no one was looking.
I love how these battles feel like video game raids, and it's like, all right, the C rank hunters, we're gonna carry you newbies through. Like, don't worry, you just worry about like not dying, and we've done this so many times that we'll just carry you to get the best loot at the end of the game.
I really enjoyed Jinho's enthusiasm. Like, it's his first dungeon. He's nervous, but he's excited. They get attacked by the bugs. He cuts one in half. He's like, "Did you see it? Did you see it? I got one." He's all excited. And, Jinwoo's just sort of laying back, studying, kicks a bug to death.
I'm not gonna lie, Jinho gives off death flags to me, like throughout this thing, right? He comes in with like, "It's my first time," and he's like, "Look at my special armor and weapon," and he's like, "Look, I got one," and you're like, "Oh my gosh, man, he's gonna be the first one dead when they reach that boss." That's what I was thinking during this. The party inspects the bugs and sees that they happen to have wounds from a source that wasn't their party. They must be in a turf war with some other creature in the dungeon.
It's going to be a big ass spider that preys on ants, isn't it?
Ugh, I hate spiders. Don't say that.
Yeah, also thinking, ugh. We cut away to the White Tiger Guild. Various members are training and working out. A guy hitting a punching bag is surprised when there's a very loud sound that causes the building to shake. Another guild member tells him to calm down, and that's a regular occurrence. We're shown their guild leader, Yunho Beck. He was in the interview at the beginning of the episode. He punched a hole in a huge block of stone. So this is the power of an S rank.
I really dug the look of the logo for the White Tiger Guild.
Yeah, they had actually a pretty sick logo. And we go back to the party. That's what I'm going to keep referring to these 8 people as the party. Just it's easier for me. Jinho asks a ton of questions while they're walking through the tunnels. He seems like when everyone's walking, there's just like that one really hyper guy who's like bouncing off the walls. That's Jinho. We get some interesting lore though. The size of the dungeon has nothing to do with rank either. So it's not just the size of the gate that doesn't matter. The size of the dungeon doesn't matter. That means that this dungeon is vast, but mostly empty. Jinho asks to hold Jinwoo's bags. They say, "Hey, you've been carrying that for a long time. Can I help?" Jinwoo says that he doesn't mind if it means he doesn't have to fight the monsters. It's a sweet deal. Or maybe it's a little too sweet. Jinwoo starts having a nagging feeling that something is wrong. Having a 6-person party without a healer is kind of weird. But his train of thought is interrupted when the party reveals some webs ahead. Oh yeah, spider boss incoming for sure.
Thanks, Mike. You jinxed
You're
us.
welcome.
You did this.
Hey, what can I say except you're welcome?
Blech.
The party comes across a treasure trove of mana crystals. Hey, pretty good, right? They believe this may be worth billions, if not more. Now, I'm going on a limb of currency rates, right? I'm gonna guess this is kind of like yen, where it's kind of like you move the decimal place 2 over.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And I'm looking this up right now. 1 billion Korean yen is worth about $721,000. So when he says a billion, I'm like, wow, a lot. But then I think I'm like, is this Korean currency? If so, it's less than $1 million, 700,000. So, I'm not sure which way to take this. Also, their currency, a billion just sounds like a lot. So, I don't know. I just don't know how much to think of it. But a billion's a lot of anything, just about. So I guess I'm just going to assume that I should be impressed by that number. Someone in the party mentions Wang Dong-suk's brother, to which another team member says it's not cool that they mentioned him. Guess we'll get more on that later. Wang Dong-suk has an internal monologue about his younger brother, or about how his younger brother is in the wrong about something, and that after this score, his party is going to blow up. I also don't know what he was talking about here. The party starts talking about a 7-way split, right? It's even splitting 7 ways is going to make everyone rich. But Jinho asks Jinwoo to see the contract he signed. It looks like Jinwoo is actually entitled to some of the treasure halls, so it should be 8 ways. But that one team member said 7 ways. Wang Dong-suk says, of course they're going to split it all evenly. Once again, kind of inconsistent, pretty weird. So I don't know what to make of this.
This whole time, I was like, oh, what are the odds that the strike team tries to kill both Jinwoo and Jinho to reduce the cut for the mana crystals. It's like either they try and kill them themselves, or there's a happy little accident and they just happen to die in the dungeon. Oh no, what a shame.
I also kind of was thinking the same thing, and I really appreciate the inner monologue for Jinwoo and his thought process. I don't know. I feel like I would be doing the same thing. Like something just doesn't seem quite right here. What could it be? And he's running through different scenarios, trying to piece things together. And I really like that inner monologue as he thinks everything through. That kind of helps us to follow along too. But I just really enjoy how they do that.
But besides splitting the loot, they have another problem. The dungeon boss. A huge spider is resting on the ceiling. If that boss dies, then the gate will close and they won't be able to get their hands on those mana crystals. But currently the boss is asleep. I guess he ate too much and now he's sleepy. The party left their mining gear back at the start of the gate because they could have never foreseen this many mana crystals. So the party has to go back and get their gear. Oops. They tell Jinho and Jinwoo to stay behind while the party goes to get their mining gear. The boss probably won't wake up unless someone forcibly wakes it, so there shouldn't be a problem. Jinwoo pieces together that something is off about the party. How do they take on powerful dungeons without having regular temps on call? Like, how could you always have a rotating roster of two new members? The party decides to blow up the entrance to the cave. What? We're shown a flashback with Chiyo's song. It mentions that it's really easy to get away with crimes within a gate because there's no way to verify if people are telling the truth. We people sometimes get left behind or used as bait. With this explosion, the spider has been awakened.
I knew it was gonna be a big ass spider for a dungeon boss.
Gross.
Jinwoo decides what to do. A C rank boss versus an E rank hunter. It's on a whole nother level. Other level? He takes it back. That smiling god statue makes this look easy. We roll credits.
Time for Jinwoo's reputation to grow.
I'm very excited to see what comes up next. I mean, he's been trying to hide this entire time, and now it's time for him to flex. What's going to happen?
But I need a water break. But while I'm drinking water, I think that Mike's gonna tell you about some beer. Take it away, Mike.
Enjoy your water break, Sean, because now it is time for the beer break. You know what they say, alcohol is the best medicine, and that means it's time for Mike's Beer of the Week. This week's beer comes to you from Allagash Brewing, and it is their Kiryu, a 10.2% Belgian Tripel. Allagash started making this beer back in 2004, and it was their first foray into barrel aging. They took their Tripel and let it age in barrels for 6 to 8 weeks, and once it was done aging, they blended it back in with a portion of fresh Tripel. It resulted in notes of coconut, vanilla, and a hint of bourbon. Hint is definitely the right word here, as I didn't get too much bourbon whenever I was drinking this beer. Curieux is French for curious or inquisitive. I really dug this beer. I'm a huge fan of Tripels. They're one of my favorite styles. I don't drink them too frequently just because they are high in alcohol content, but I do enjoy a good Belgian Tripel, quad, double whenever I get my hands on them. The untapped average rating is a 4.05, and I give it a 4.
Episode 6. The real hunt begins. The episode begins with the party walking out of the gate. Wong Dong-suk explains why their plan was a good idea. Leave the spider to kill the other two hunters. That way the party doesn't have to fight the spider, and they die in a very natural way in the dungeon. The spider will go back to sleep. The party can slip in the lair through a side tunnel, quietly harvest mana crystals. If the spider's still awake, they'll just kill it and accept that it's bad luck. Either way, They're gonna loot Jinho's body and sell that gear for a few hundred million. Wang Dong-suk believes that his plan has only one guarantee, and that guarantee is that this monster is strong and will absolutely murder Jinwoo and Jinho.
Dong-suk, what a dick. Plotting to sell Jinhoo's gear. And he keeps talking about his brother, and I'm like, okay, like, who is, like, it's episode 6. We haven't met a ton of characters, but, like, who is this guy's brother? Like, is he a good guy, a bad guy, a neutral party that just, like, will do bad things if necessary? Like, who is this guy's brother?
Something tells me we're gonna find out eventually.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We're like, who's his brother? I don't know if there's really any intrigue for his brother. Seriously, if we weren't like doing this podcast and I was just watching casually, I don't think I'd be able to name you a single character who wasn't Jinwoo. So that's just how I feel, and I have a funny feeling it's gonna continue throughout most of this.
I mean, they're clearly trying to do a setup here, so
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, let's expand the universe a little bit. We flip over to Jinwoo and Jinho. Jinho suggests that they try to escape because of the difference in rank. That's pretty logical. Jinwoo has an internal monologue thinking about the past monsters he's defeated. However, he's level 18 now, and he has a lot of stat boosts. He's a hunter, so let the hunt begin. Roll the opening.
One thing that annoyed me here was we didn't get the color text and the name for the spider boss. Which it's like, oh, I really enjoyed that from whenever Jinwoo went into the instance dungeon. So I just assumed that we would always get that. So I was pretty bummed that we didn't get that here.
It feels kind of like a plot hole.
It just like it feels like they introduce some things and then it'll disappear and then it'll come back the next episode. Like his title disappeared and then it's back to Wolf Assassin or whatever. So there's just a couple like continuity errors.
I was
But
also like very curious as to where he stacked up against the spider monster. So I don't know if they chose not to reveal the name with the color to show us what it is for more suspense building. But I was also wondering that, like, where are we going to get not even so much the name, which okay, well, whatever, that would be cool. But like, what color's the name? Is it surely it's not white because it's boss? Is it orange or is it red? Where does he stand against this thing? So I'm wondering if they didn't show it just to build some suspense.
And then I know I say it all the time, but give me more of the determined, angry inner monologue for Jinwoo.
After the opening, we see Chairman getting into the back seat of a car. He's worn out from his never-ending meetings. His driver asks for some guidance, and the chairman says, I won't turn him down. It was a very short scene. Jinwoo is battling the spider with incredible speed. Jinho wonders if Jinwoo is what they call a false ranker.
Gasp.
These hunters lie about their ranking and are often psychopaths who kill for fun. Jinho breaks down wondering why he's even in a place like this.
When the whole idea of false rankers were brought up, I'm like, why would any hunter want to falsify their rank? It's like, I guess they just don't want to do the riskier hunts, but the money's also better with the riskier hunts. So, like, it's just like, it doesn't quite add up to me.
I mean, if you were like a C rank hunter, you can choose to just do like E and D rank dungeons if you wanted to. So that I also thought the idea of a false ranker was kind of weird.
Yeah, but power does things to a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there could be a perfectly normal person, but when you give them power, they abuse it. And when it comes to these higher ranks, right? I could totally see someone who's like an A or B rank, thinking that they're like superior to these other hunters, and just killing them for fun. I guess I think about like I watch The Boys, and that kind of reminds me of that kind of, where like the strong heroes there really bully the weaker heroes. Bully, putting it lightly. Uh, so I could see stuff like that happening in the world of hunters, where the people who are ranked higher just believe that they're like a superior species almost to low rank hunters and even regular humans. Jinwoo's fatigue is dropping fast. He needs to find out how to use the dagger's debuffs. He sees the spider's eyes and decides that's where he needs to strike. As he runs towards it, the spider spits acid at Jinwoo, who narrowly dodges. Jinwoo uses a skill called Dash to increase his speed greatly, but his stamina is jumping up even faster. The spider is about to crush him with his leg, but Jinwoo uses one of those full recoveries that he stashed away and gets away, and uses that opportunity to strike the spider's eyes from above. He gets multiple stabs into the eyes and is alerted that he's defeated the master of the dungeon. He's given a few levels for his troubles. What do you guys think?
This fight was so good. It just like watching him use dash for the first time was awesome, and like how impressive he was when he moved so quickly. And then he's like, "Oh no!" I'm like, I loved the realization of like, "Oh yeah, I didn't open my daily rewards today. Sweet, I have a full recovery that I can use." It's like, "Oh yeah, we've all been there." It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll open this package later," and it's like, "Oh shit, there's actually something useful there. Sweet." And then watching him take his frustration out on the spider by just repeatedly stabbing it was something else.
I also really enjoyed this fight against the spider, and not just because I don't like spiders. Uh, did I mention I don't like spiders? Kill spiders. It was a good fight. I did kind of think the full recovery thing was a little too convenient, but it's all right. It's a power fantasy.
I
I
mean,
enjoy those.
it fits perfectly with video game logic. It's like, oh no, I'm getting my ass beat. Hold on, let me pause and open my item inventory and heal real quick mid fight.
It does. It does. It just so happens that, earlier he just forgot to accept that and now he needs it. But it's fine. Like I said, it's a power fantasy. I enjoy those.
At the
I
same,
have no power.
I
So
wanted to bring that up. Did he say where he got that dash ability from? Because he didn't have that the last two episodes, right? Didn't he just be like, "Oh yeah, I have this new ability" out of nowhere?
it was sort of out of nowhere, but I think it was implied because he increased his agility, he got that. So I don't know. I don't have a definite answer on that, but
See,
it did sort of come out of nowhere.
that's some more power fantasy BS. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of they always seem to get the exact ability that they need for the fight right before the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it. Like I said, it's all for the power fantasy, so it
Right.
doesn't really matter. We just want to see our main character do cool stuff with cool animation and kill stuff.
It also ties into like the video game logic. As you level up, mid fight, you happen to learn a new ability, and it just so happens to be incredibly useful on whatever monsters you're fighting. So it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's all in good fun. I'm enjoying the show. I'm not complaining, just calling it out.
I'll complain.
Complain! I hate spiders. There's my complaint.
Oh yeah, I'm listening to this podcast by the way called the Magnus Archives Turtle, and I just watched an episode called Arachnophobia, where
Uh,
a guy killed a spider when he was young, and the spider's ghost is coming back to haunt him.
whoa.
And like, but the spider keeps showing up and like running around his room. But when he tries to kill it, he can't because it's a ghost. So like, he's freaked out constantly by this spider.
Yuck. I feel for that guy.
Yeah, maybe we gotta throw one of those trigger warnings on the on the start of this episode. But not really, because if you're watching solo leveling, there's a big spider, so the little ghost spider probably didn't trigger you any harder than the giant one did.
That's very true. That spits acid.
Well, not anymore. The boss is dead. Jinho stands in disbelief. He must be a false rancor. Jinho calls Jinwoo boss and offers to hold all of his essence stones. Can I also get you water, boss? He's now terrified of Jinwoo, obviously. And so Jinho starts trying to eagerly harvest some mana crystals. And, can I carry these for you, boss? I'm curious, why didn't the dungeon disappear immediately? I wonder, like, if there's a timer or something after the boss is defeated.
Plot convenience.
Yeah.
They must give the hunters a few minutes to loot the bodies.
That's the video game logic.
It was hilarious to see Jinho's change of attitude Because, like, up until this point, he was calling Jinho bro, like, hey, bro, I can carry that for you. Oh, don't worry, bro. I'll protect you. I got this sweet armor, bro. Hey, bro, like, do you need any help, bro? I got you, bro. And now it's like, oh, hey, boss, boss, here, have some water, boss, and I'll farm these crystals for you, boss, and I'll carry all your shit, boss, and, boss, what do you need, boss?
He's like sweating profusely, shaking because he's nervous.
We cut to the chairman and his driver battling it out while wearing a martial arts uniform. They wreck the arena where they're training. The chairman praises his driver for wanting to hone his mind and body. Even though they can't change their rank, it's good to stay sharp in case you end up in a dire situation where human situation rears its ugly head. How relevant to Jinwoo's predicament?
So, we're halfway through season 1. And we keep getting these cuts to these minor characters in each episode. And I'm just finding it so hard to care about these characters. It's like, you guys are just in here for like plot convenience to like talk about Jin Woo's predicament. But like, you don't really offer anything to the story. And it's really bugging me.
Some of the cutaways they've done, it's been like to prep us for what's about to happen, to give some sort of reasoning or explanation to what's about to occur in whatever fight that Jin Woo's in. And I kind of find these a little jarring and unnecessary. You don't have to cut away every 10 seconds to explain something that's going to happen in 10 seconds. Just let me watch what's happening.
Right, we don't need other characters to explain what's about to happen to Jin Woo while they're not around Jin Woo.
Yeah, it's unnecessary and jarring, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind the cutaways if we spent more time with these side characters and got to know them. But they're seriously like out of nowhere, like 60-second blurbs. I feel like it messes with the flow of the episode sometimes.
I agree.
Wong Dong-suk calls out Jinho and mentions that he knows who his father is. He's the head of a company named Eugene Construction. They offer him a chance. He'll live if he kills Jin Woo. They believe Jinho's gear allowed him to defeat the spider. I mean, it's a pretty logical explanation, I guess, because no way the E-Ranker could. Wong Dong-suk says, what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon. He also pretty much calls him chicken, chicken, bark, bark. But Jinho stands his ground and points his sword towards the party. They're gonna kill Jinwoo first. The party starts walking towards Jinwoo with red eyes and asks, ever killed a human before in cold blood? This reminds me of an episode of Seinfeld where a guy asks Kramer, hey Kramer, dude, you ever killed a man before? And Kramer responds, what do you think, Junior? Do you think these hands have been soaking in ivory liquid? I don't know, for the Seinfeld fans out there. Jimmy did not respond back with what Kramer said, though.
I just gotta laugh at what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon. Like, Dong-suk has no idea how true those words are when it comes to Jin Woo. And I really dug the visual of Dong-suk and his crew having red eyes, like in the shadows.
I also like the Dong-suk crew having the red eyes. I thought it was a very effective scene. It building tension for what's about to happen.
Kind of a little cheesy and overdone, but it's fine. I got the point.
You're cheesy and overdone.
Probably.
Where they have the red eyes and you're like, yes, I get it, you're evil.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of called that a while back. I thought that was pretty obvious, but that's fine. Give them the red eyes. Let them walk menacingly towards the camera for a few frames. It's cool.
All of a sudden, Jinwoo gets an urgent request from the system. The quest: defeat the enemies. Goal: there are people present who want to kill the player. Defeat them all and ensure your safety. Warning: if you do not complete this quest, you will receive an appropriate penalty. The mage casts a quick spell at Jinwoo, and he gets hit right in the face.
All right, let's talk about the system saying if you don't complete this mission, you'll have a appropriate penalty. It's like, system. If Jinwoo doesn't defeat Dong-suk's party, he's gonna be dead. What other penalty can there be?
I would say that would be appropriate.
I was curious if he ran away. Say he just blew past the party with that dash ability and just ran out of the portal. Like, does he get a penalty?
I suppose he would. At least according to the system, he would.
We cut away to three women discussing being high rank members in their respective guilds. They talk about ambitions and random guildmates. I hate to say it, but I echo Mike's sentiments from earlier. I do not give a crap about these characters. I don't know their names. I don't know their guilds. And like this scene lasts once again like 60 seconds and I get nothing out of it.
Yeah, I mean, as I just said, I was not a fan of this this scene. It's like, what is the point? Like, we're talking about these guilds and everything. It's like we're 6 episodes, like we're halfway through. Like, if you're gonna keep talking about these guilds, like when are we gonna get something worthwhile from these guilds? And like we talk about these S rank hunters, it's like, okay, when are we gonna get more from these S rank hunters? Unless this is just to build for season 2.
That could be possible. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to do like the One Piece character setups where the One Piece will introduce a character, and then like 500 chapters later, that character will return and have some importance. And because they were introduced in some chapter 500 chapters ago, we know who they are, and now we can see how incredible they are. But this is just there's a lot of cutaways. It's like Family Guy. Like Family Guy will hit you with a line, they'll cut away to do a joke, and then cut back to the episode. Except these cutaways aren't funny; they're actually like annoying. So yeah, we're getting the Family Guy cutaways here, but they're not funny.
Holy crap, Jinwoo! You beat the spider! Anyway, back to Jinho, who calls the party murderers. Meanwhile, Jinwoo's not dead. He starts thinking, and I put in quotes here, it's survival of the fittest in this world. This world, filled with violence, deception, and betrayal. How could I? How? That's right. I got numb to it. Careless, overconfident, delusional, and now the system expects me to murder my enemies. Does it need to keep me alive for some reason? This isn't coincidence or charity. The system wants me to live. It wants me strong. I think I get it now. If the system is bent on using me, I'm just gonna have to use the system. Thanks for the reminder. The weak always lose, no matter what. That's the way it is. Your crew must understand how it works too, if you're saying that. You hunt and hunt, so now I want to know if the hunters are ready to be preyed upon.
Oh, I love this monologue. Like, he had this monologue, and all I could think was, holy shit.
Yeah, this was a really good monologue. After all the crappy cutaways to pull away from the episode, I'm surprised they didn't interrupt this halfway through. But this was a great monologue. You know, he's standing there, he's approaching them, he's getting the crazy eyes, and he's covered in his own blood, and things are going to get nuts.
Yeah, once again, we were singing the praises of the voice actor earlier in the episode, and I also want to sing the praises. Man, when he gets in these like very serious monologues, he delivers.
Absolutely. I'm really liking this guy, and I want to do more research and see what other shows he's been in, and watch them just to see. I don't know if this is like going to be a breakout role for him, or if he's been in other major stuff. I know, Mike, you mentioned that he was in he's Thorfinn in Vinland Saga, which I don't remember him having absolutely incredible voice work for season 1, but maybe we're going to get more of him in season 2.
Is season 2 a different voice actor though? I wonder.
I mean, at the end of season 1, Thorfinn was older, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So is he older Thorfinn and not younger one?
Probably, I think so.
So yeah, we're gonna have to watch season 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a real shame. I tell you, it's a real shame.
I'm not doing a play-by-play of what happens here, but the first real cocky guy walks up to Jinwoo, and Jinwoo summons his dagger to his hand and just decapitates the guy with ease. It's like hot knife through butter. So it's just unbelievable ease. After the killing, he reflects on it, and he's like, "I just killed a guy. Holy crap!" Uh, and then proceeds to kill the rest of the party in excellently animated fashion. This entire scene was absolutely brutal, including the death of Wong Dong-soo.
I had some notes from this scene. One, the scene was fantastic. I love how he's like, I should reflect on I just killed a guy. And then he's like, well, I'm gonna go murder everyone else at it while I'm at it. I really enjoyed the song that was playing in the background as Jinwoo absolutely wrecked the party. That song was really great. Turtle, I don't know if you did any research on it, but I was a huge fan.
I was just gonna say I did not get a chance to. I forgot to look that up. Keep talking. I'm gonna see if I can find out what it is. It is a good song.
I'll keep going over my notes while you do some research. Uh, Dong-suk keeps talking, and he doesn't realize how true his words are when it comes to Jinwoo about being a monster. Like, when he's like, oh, what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon, ha ha ha. And now it's like, oh, Jinwoo, you're a monster. It's like, yeah, Jinwoo actually is a monster with having the system, and like the system telling him what to do. It's like, I could easily see Jinwoo becoming a villain because of the system. And then when Jinwoo came face to face with Dong-suk, and Jinwoo just absolutely beat that ass. And I love how Dong-suk tried to bribe his way out of it, like, oh, I'll pay you double. Just let me live. It's like, and Jinwoo's like, triple. He's like, what? He's like, you tried to kill me 3 times. And he just murdered Dong-suk. And when he did it, I let out an audible holy shit with how intense that was.
Yeah, and I also wanted to echo what you just said there, Mike. It's about the system, right? The system kind of just like forced him to kill 6 people. Maybe he could have run out of here and escaped, but the system was like kill now or penalty. I wonder what other things the system's going to make him do, or else he suffers a penalty. It may not be just a fun video game system. It could actually have evil intentions that cause him to kill a lot more people in the future.
Turtle, were you able to figure out anything on that song or
I
not?
am in the process of trying to look that up. So
Ah.
as soon as I find it, I'm getting close. I think we'll come back to that.
All right, we could go back to you.
Yeah, well, we will revisit this issue later. The dungeon disappears conveniently right after Jinwoo kills all the party members. I love the plot convenience. Our 2 survivors are outside of the gate speaking with a member of the Hunter Association. They tell their story, and she believes them because of Jinho's gear. Jinwoo isn't interested in the discussioning happening right beside him. He sees new quest rewards instead. Full recovery, ability points plus 10, pretty good. Oh, and a new skill, Murderous Intent. The skill costs 100 MP. It debuffs an enemy's stats by 50% and puts them in a state of panic for 1 minute. Multiple targets can be specified. They're good to go after Jinho gets credit for the victory. It starts raining, and Jinwoo thinks about how happy he is that he gave his sister that umbrella.
That murderous intent ability seems super OP. It's like, oh yeah, you could just debuff everyone and you can put them all in a state of panic for a minute. Like, what? And it's like, oh yeah, you can do it to multiple targets too. It's not just a one target thing. It's like, yeah, it costs 100 MP, but it's like, with a skill that strong, that'll end. That's battle ender.
With like how fast he is with the dash ability, he could probably just kill like a whole room of people. Who needs a minute? This dude can do it in 15 seconds.
I did find that song.
Lay it on us, Turtle.
Okay, so the song is called Dark Aria Level 2. And the artist is Hiroyuki Sawano. So for those who didn't watch, or if you want to hear the whole song, there it is, Dark Aria Level 2 by Hiroyuki Sawano. Go check it out. It's on the internet.
We cut away to a large building. There's a guy who's absolutely jacked, staring out a window. Cue the credits.
I have a feeling that this is Dong-suk's brother.
That's what I assumed.
I am third on that sentiment.
They kept mentioning him. When my brother finds out.
But generally, what did you guys think about these 2 episodes?
You want to start, Turtle?
Yeah, I like these 2. We're beginning to see Jin Woo's work pay off as he levels up. He's beginning the OP I don't know, the OP run as he just crushes all of his opponents. Yeah, I think the only issue that I have is just all the cutaways. We already talked about that, but yeah, other than that, I thought they were good episodes. Some really great animation, some good fight sequences.
Yeah, I agree with that that entire sentiment. Like, great episodes. Really dug the action, the story of Jin Woo and the system, and like him finally starting to he's starting to recognize more with the system, which is nice. I'm assuming Jin Ho is going to be around for a while. But I also, as I stated multiple times, just these cutaways to the minor characters, it almost takes me out of the episode because it's like, who's this character? Why should I care about them? Like, they're not adding anything to this. It's not even like, oh, here's a B story that's going throughout the episode. It's like, it's a plot convenience story that helps drive something going on with Jin Woo.
Yeah, in regards to Jin Ho sticking around, I thought that Ju Hee was going to be really important, and I feel like she's already like an afterthought. So I thought we would get like more with those characters, but maybe there's still time. We're only 6 episodes in, right? So there's still plenty more time, but I don't know. I feel like it feels like they've already forgotten about some of the characters we've met. But I don't know. Let's say this show's about the power fantasy. It's about the video game system. If you're watching this for like in-depth, make you feel feeling stuff, you're watching the wrong show. It's very shonen-esque, and if you like shonen, then you're probably having a pretty dang good time with this one. I had more good things to say about these episodes than bad. Sure, I have my gripes, but the good far exceeded the bad, I thought. And I want to give credit to the animators and the voice actors who really brought this episode to life, despite even not necessarily the best plot. Though I did kind of like the betrayal arc here, like the storyline of the betrayal, spiced things up, made it get a little more interesting than dungeon diving. But now we're going to head off to the waifu of the week. Turtle, let's start with you. Who did you pick and why?
This week, my waifu of the week is Jin Woo, the same as last week. I feel like we got a bunch of side characters who are uninteresting, and then there was Jin Woo. So I don't feel like there were a whole lot of other people that I could really pick. One of the 3 random women in the coffee shop. Yeah, that was my favorite scene in the whole episode, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's Jin Woo. The show is all about him. He's beginning to get OP, and he's only going to get more OP as we progress, I'm sure. And I don't really see another option for a waifu of the week, so I gotta go Jin Woo.
Mike, you're up.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like this show is just gonna be Jin Woo every week because there's so few main characters at this point, and like we get Jin Ho this episode, and we get a couple of characters here and there, but like end of the day, it's Jin Woo and the system just wreaking havoc on everyone. So Jin Woo. And I'll just call Jin Woo that the nurse's waifu of the week as well.
And my waifu of the week is Jin Ho. It's Jin Ho. Because were you guys watching the same show as me? Those other 6 guys died fighting the spider, and Jinho won because of his armor and weapon. Like, didn't you read the report from the Hunters Association? So Jinho, our brave hero, rank D but performs like a rank C. Jinho, you are my waifu of the week. Thank you all for joining us this week as we watched Solo Leveling. We hope you join us next week for episode 58 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we watch episodes 7 and 8 of Solo Leveling. Please give us a 5-star review on all platforms that allow reviews. If you're listening on YouTube, please like the video, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you all for joining us. We will talk with you next week.